I got this out of my head ages ago, but now it's there again. I wouldn't want to write this online or anywhere, but now I have to. I think it'll be back. It was 1999 and I was only 19 years old, but I was crazy with Lego bricks. This is really the only thing I played with. While other kids played with mini race cars and action figures, I stick with the good old Legos. I like to collect all kinds of sets from castle to city because I want to have a really wide collection of different kind of colored Legos. One day, a new set came to my local store. It was called the Hook and Haul Wrecker. Of course I wanted it, but had axles that could turn into different directions. I usually save money for situations like that, and thankfully I just had just enough money to buy the set. I didn't even ask my parents. I just ran home and snatched my money and then ran back to the shop to buy the set. I got home with a brand new set of bright, new Lego bricks. My mom asked me where I got it, but when I explained, she understood. I went back to my room and opened the package. That was when I noticed something weird. You know how all the packages full of brand new plastic pieces have that ordinary smell? That one didn't. It was like it was already open, but since I was young, I really didn't care. Little things like that. I started ripping up the bags and have the bricks inside them. Like most Lego sets, the figure is built first in the instructions, so I opened up the bag with the figure pieces to build them. I put on the torso and the legs and the head and torso, all the stuff. But when I tried to place the cap on the figurehead, it didn't fit. When I looked closer at the head, I noticed it was a little twisted. My eyes were too much and the right of the head overall was bent so that it was impossible for the hat or a wing on it to put one on those. I decided to let it be for now and complain to shop later on. Maybe at the best I could get another free set. I built the car and liked it a lot. But as the most of the sets, I disassembled it almost right away and sorted all the bricks into boxes that I had sorted all my bricks in. It was already sort of late and I went to bed happy about my new set. If I had known what was wrong with it, I would not have been happy. The next morning I woke up. I wanted to check out my twisted head again and actually do an analysis how damaged it was. I got to the box and the figure parts, but the head didn't seem to be there. I dug through heads, hats, torsos, and legs and all that stuff, but I couldn't find that head. I turned around and suddenly the head was on my table. I swear it wasn't there when I woke up. I didn't really suspect anything too bad, but it definitely was freaky. I went upstairs to have breakfast, and when I came back down to my room, the head was not on the table anymore. I asked my parents if they had moved it, but neither said they did. My parents aren't really that type of people who make pranks, so I believe them. I couldn't find the head anywhere. I searched and searched, went through every single place, and suddenly my mom shouted upstairs, "Honey, you really shouldn't put your toys in the poultry cupboard." I was shocked. When I went up and opened the cupboard, it wasn't there. The strange, twisted head was there next to the knives. How on earth could it have gotten there? That was the point when I realized something was up. So I brought the head to my room and actually investigating it. The first thing I found was that instead of saying Lego on the stud of the head, was some strange shapes you couldn't really make sense out of. When I better looked at it, it was almost like Lego, but a little disfigured, being more like IF-16, or at least that's how I remembered. There was really nothing else strange about it, except that the twist, obviously. I put the head back in its proper body and threw it in the minifigure box. I went outside to play with my friends and came back home later than usual. My mom has a nighttime job every now and then, hence her being a police. And my dad usually falls asleep on the couch then watching the Saturday show. So when I got home, I found my dad sleeping and my mom gone. So I decided to do what I usually did when I was bored. Play with Legos. When I got downstairs to my room, I found out something weirder than anything happened before. The minifigure with the twisted head had the Lego sword in one hand, and there was a plastic cola bottle next to it, completely destroyed. It was only a bottle, of course, but the cat doesn't do that stuff. And again, my parents neither. I started thinking about Studhead a little differently. Yes, I gave it a special name. How could a minifigure slash a plastic bottle with a weak plastic sword that could hardly cut paper? I decided to do a little test. I put Studhead in a little safe that kept my money in. I locked it and hid it under my bed. Only I could find and open that. So if someone was playing a trick on me, he's not going to be able to do it anymore. I went to sleep and woke up with the sun shining in my room from the window. Since it was summer, it was probably only like 5 or 6 a.m. I wanted to check my safe anyway though, just in case no one had robbed it. The lock is still set at the same numbers and the safe was in the exact same place. But when I opened it, I saw something horrible. Studhead was covered in blood. As far as I knew, it was actual blood. The sword in Studhead's hand was the same, but it had an actual metallic blade on it. Just like the ones used for the metal cutting knives in the kitchen. I was very sleepy, but the shock woke me up entirely. All my money I had in there was red with blood. All the coins looked like they were made from red metal, and the paper money was ripped. I looked at Studhead's face. The eyes had moved from left to right. From the left, and it looked like the mouth had opened a little. I really started to freak out, hoping it was just a dream. I saw the mark on the stud of the head had changed too, but then I realized that its head was cursed. The Lego marking had turned into 666. I turned my head so slowly to see my room, and I saw very small bloody footsteps that were shaped like squares. I thought, but they couldn't. They couldn't be Studhead steps. Or could they? I was still holding the safe tight in my hands because that figure was actually the making of the devil. I didn't want it to escape, and I walked through my room, upstairs to the TV room, followed the steps, and that was when everything inside me crashed down from the bottom of my body. On the floor I saw Timmy, our cat, brutally killed. It was slashed open, and it was entirely red from gore. I dropped the safe, making everything from coins to Studhead itself fly around the room. But back to the living room. I fell on my knees and looked at our disfigured cat. I couldn't look at it any longer without throwing up. It was so disgusting. I ran to the TV room instead of the living room, horrified at what I just saw. I let out the loudest scream I've ever let out, obviously waking my parents. They both rushed out still having their underwear on. When they got to the TV room, my dad heard a weird noise, and before I said anything about our cat, I heard it too. There was a silent hissing sound coming from downstairs. I opened my eyes wide and looked around the safe I dropped. Studhead wasn't there anymore. My dad rushed downstairs and before long, shouted at the top of his lungs, "Get the fuck out now!" He rushed back up, grabbing me and my mom, who had just grabbed a small box with our most important photographs on it. My dad swiftly opened the door, literally throwing us out, and then grabbed us and ran as far as the house as he could. When we were at 35 meters away, our house exploded. It burst into flames and pieces of stone and wood flew all over the place. We could see small pieces of our furniture burned and flying near the wreck of our home. My mom and dad were both shivering and crying, and I was just standing there. My insides was burning with fear and sadness, but I just stood there emotionless while the rest of our home burnt off. The neighbor had called the emergency service, but when the ambulance came and fire trucks got there was only the black structure of our house standing and random pieces of wreckage everywhere in it. Everything, even the tree near our house had burnt a little, so we were homeless and had nothing, but even worse, we had no idea where Studhead, the one to blame, was. My parents could live with our grandparents until we got a new house. The only thing that was saved from our home besides us and that little box of photographs, so we could get the furniture and the stuff we needed, and we had lost an explosion. We got to move into a new house on our own in 2.5 years, and by 2005 we had already left behind everything lost in the explosion. I lost all my Legos, but didn't want the new ones anymore. Thankfully, my mom and dad believed me when I say I didn't want them because I have bad memories. Oh yeah, the explosion was reported on the news as an accidental gas explosion, but I know it was intended by that demonic little thing. So now, in 2013, I'm already 22 years old and live in my own home. When I decided to buy a new Lego set, I got to be honest, I missed the good old days of building with Legos. And I thought maybe the stud head was actually just a normal head, but I had just thought that I just thought of as demonic. So I bought the set, and when I opened the door to my apartment, something made me shit my pants. On the floor of the hall was the exact same fucking head. It was Studhead. I dropped the Lego back and grabbed the head. It was exactly the same, just older looking. I took the head, took the package, drove to the lakeshore, and threw them both as far to the lake as I could. I thought that would do it, but I kept seeing the head everywhere. It might be that I just going nuts, but hear me, check your Lego boxes. It might be there.